Burnout is not just when you feel a bit tired and you can't succeed at anything, don't feel any progress, you're getting tired of anything. When you just feel trapped, now your work controls your life, and that sucks. Hello, my name is Maria Toka. I'm a freelance graphic designer, and today I'd like to talk to you about burnout, which is what I was experiencing last week. I'd like to address this topic because initially I didn't want to make a video about this because it's not a really pleasant thing to talk about. I don't know. I didn't want to complain too much, and on this YouTube channel I know that probably most people came here to see tutorials or any sort of a ready-to-use advice, and they don't really know me and they wouldn't be interested in my experience with burnout. But at the same time, when I looked at similar videos about burnout from other designers, I thought, okay, I have to make a video because this is so much different from my perspective. Yeah, these videos, they pissed me off so much, to be honest. When people advise stuff like relax, take your time, take a break, I don't know what else they advise, treat yourself, be kind to yourself, and all these cliche words that just, I don't know, I'm so sick of it, honestly. And now I'm not that emotional about it, but a week ago they would annoy me so much. Like when you already feel so anxious in times of uncertainty, but when you don't feel great, like in general, burnout is not a fun feeling, and people are just telling you, just relax, treat yourself. Thank you so much for this advice. I wouldn't even thought about it myself. Literally, you changed the whole game for me. Maybe I'm being over dramatic about it, but it was much more serious than just, I was a little bit tired of my work. I took a day off and I went on a nice trip to New York or London, Paris, or wherever you're close to, depending on where you live. It wasn't like that for me at all. Like, I was feeling so anxious about everything. It's not just a casual day off because I got tired. But tomorrow I came back to work because I'm alright. Okay. Maybe that's just my experience. No judgment. I don't mind if people don't have problems in their lives. That's awesome. Good for them. I'm happy for them. Almost. Okay, so what I would like to say about my experience burnout. Honestly, I haven't experienced burnout before just a couple of weeks ago. Maybe a little bit, like a very mild level of it at times, ever since I became self-employed, which is a long time ago. But I would say last summer maybe I had a little bit of feeling like that, but it was a bit milder than this time. I think it's just an expected thing when you're self-employed to feel these emotional roller coasters, because it depends on how the things are going in your business. Pretty much when everything is good, you feel great and you feel just like you're on top of the world. You won the lottery of this life and you're better than anybody else who works 9 to 5. You feel such a privilege. But at times of uncertainty and when things are not that well, you feel like shit, and there's no stability, no financial security. You have no idea what your future is gonna bring, where you're gonna live next month. I'm being a bit over dramatic. Obviously you will find a place to live, but when you're an anxious person, you may think about even that, even though it may not be the case for you. I hope you get what I'm saying. So even now, I wouldn't say that it was at an extreme level because I managed to cope with it in a few days. I recovered relatively quickly, I would say. I just wanted to address that burnout is not just when you feel a bit tired and you need to treat yourself with kindness. Maybe this works for someone. I'm jealous of those people. Honestly, I'm just jealous. Yeah, burnout can be caused by different reasons. One of the most common reasons, I guess, is just the increased workload in general. And as you know, not every aspect of graphic designer's work involves creative thinking and being inspired and just enjoying the process. Some of the stuff are more monotonous and technical work that you don't necessarily enjoy. And when you have a lot of tasks like that, especially when people who gave you this amount of work, or maybe it's yourself, when they didn't take into account amount of time that you will have for it, that's just bad organization and allocating time according to the task you need to complete. That's just a bad time management, that's all. But that's one of the most common reasons of burnout, and part of the reason of my burnout as well. It's like when you're feeling like you're a robot, like you're a machine that has to produce a certain amount of something, and it's especially hard to be creative at the same time. Like you need to produce something creative. I don't know. The second cause, which is related to the first one, is time pressure. It can ruin your creativity or definitely impact your stress level, which impacts your creativity. So most of us designers have been there. Not everyone is so lucky to have clients that don't care about deadline, or that we organized our business that way that we don't have any deadlines. Because we need deadlines to be efficient, to be able to stay relevant, because if every single project will take 10,000 years, we're probably not gonna make any money on it. That's obvious thing, but just I'm explaining you the conflict between that. We need deadlines, but at the same time, deadlines cause burnout. So that's like a vicious circle where you need to find a balance, probably, somehow. I don't know. But this time pressure is a really big thing, because it causes you to feel guilty all the time, like you're not a good worker because you can't meet deadlines. And that means that you can't succeed at anything in life, because to be able to succeed at anything, you need to be able to meet deadlines, which is something you're incapable of. That's how you just think that you're a loser and you will stay at the same level as you are now. You will never achieve anything in life. That causes a lot of stress, obviously. Another reason could be when you work the same amount of time and the same volume of work you need to produce, but don't feel any progress or any reward for your work, and it starts feeling pointless. This reward can be measured in different ways. It can be measured in money, in number of followers, or the type of clients that come to you. For example, when you expect each client to be bigger than the previous one, with bigger budget and more large-scale project, more interesting, but it's just not happening. You're constantly having the same clients, and like when you feel no progress. And that is the main reason for me, for my burnout. I didn't stop enjoying my work, or all of a sudden increased the workload. Like, yes, I increased my workload, but that was because of the lack of reward. So that's just like two reasons intertwined in one for me. Yeah, that can be extremely demotivating, and then you start losing your sense of purpose and your understanding, like why you do this. The next reason can be the work itself. Maybe you are getting rewarded, everything's good on that end, but the work itself that you're producing feels like you're losing interest in that. And some people may say, how this happened with graphic designers? It's such a creative work. How can you stop loving what you do? And I can tell you, it can happen when you tend to do the same, very similar type of work every day, and you're not changing anything in your routine. When your work feels extremely repetitive and monotonous, and yeah, maybe you already learned how to do it really well, but it's the same. And I think it's just a human nature. We're getting tired of anything if we do it too much, even if it's a good thing. But like, it's the same with exercise routine. If you do exactly the same workout routine, you will get so fucking bored of it very quickly. You don't even need to wait several years. You will get bored of it really quickly. And at the same time, you don't feel much motivation to learn anything new, because that is something you get paid for, and you kind of may lose interest in design in general. I know that happens to a lot of people, unfortunately. Another reason is when there is really noticeable imbalance between your work and other aspects of your life, whether that be your personal life, your health, your self-development in other aspects, not in terms of work self-development. I don't know, reading a book, for example, or any other hobbies that you have. Like when you feel that at some point you decided to focus on work and self-development, which is related to work, and you haven't even noticed that at some point you stopped seeing your friends as often as you used to, or as often as you would like to. You don't make any time for your hobbies. Some people even give up everything. They give up exercising, taking care of their health, even washing their hair. I don't know. It can go to extreme levels, but it's a clear sign that something is going wrong. So yeah, that can cause a burnout. At some point you will just realize, like, what is all of this for? What am I doing? I hate my job. I hate everything. And this whole burnout thing will happen. Yeah, and obviously there are other reasons for burnout. Something like maybe you're not happy with the environment where you work at, but the work itself feels okay. You can't deal with it for a long time. Maybe it's okay to be patient for a little bit, but not long term. So basically, burnout is when you just feel trapped because you no longer control your life. Now your work controls your life. And that sucks, honestly. There's always like the wrong proportion between what you give and what you get from your work. And you feel like you give much, much more than you get out of it. And how I noticed like the signs of burnout in my life, first of all, I started having much higher, much bigger mood swings when some minor things started to frustrate me a lot, something that you shouldn't be annoyed that much because of some small things. Another thing is, it's hard to admit, but we're being realistic here, feeling of extreme jealousy of other people's success, especially people in your industry who do exactly the same as you. It's gotten to the point when I felt like I can't even be happy for other people when they succeeded at something in design industry. I mean, I don't care if anybody succeeded at, I don't know, being a ski instructor or win the championship skiing, something like that. But when I started comparing myself to other designers, somebody who moves at their career much faster than me, and every success that I saw in other people, I immediately started comparing it to myself and started beating myself up mentally because I thought, like, why am I such a loser? Why didn't I achieve that? I probably wasn't efficient enough. I didn't organize my time well enough, but this person, they managed to organize it. Like, it means that I'm incapable of doing anything. I know all these thoughts, they are complete nonsense, and you're not supposed to think like that. It's really, really awful things to think about, but they just come to you subconsciously, and you can't control it. Well, you can control it, but I mean, the fact that they come into your head, it happens by itself. It's not that I invited these thoughts. I would love to get rid of them completely, but it just happens automatically. And you need to learn how to deal with these thoughts, not maybe necessarily getting rid of them completely, because it seems really impossible. I don't know, maybe it is possible, but at least to not take them seriously. I don't know, something like that. Another really distinctive symptom was the problems with sleep, when I noticed that it's hard for me to just simply fall asleep at night because of these constant anxious thoughts about why am I not succeeding, why I haven't done this, I should have done this, and all of that. Again, I haven't invited these thoughts in my head. They just came by themselves. I would love to just fall asleep and enjoy my life, but these thoughts decided, no, we're here now. Just listen to us and keep blaming yourself for everything. And that causes so much problems with everything else, because then when you didn't sleep enough, you feel irritated during the day. And that's like the whole vicious circle, how it starts. And the next one is just generally this persistent sense of nervousness and unease running as background noise as you go about your day. That's what I've noticed in myself. And now let's talk about what helped me, because at this moment I feel like I more or less overcame this burnout thing, because as you probably noticed, I'm back to work. I'm releasing new videos, posting on Instagram, which would be really hard to do when you burn out. It's almost impossible. You would just hate everything related to your job. The thing is, I haven't stopped loving what I do. That's already the biggest advantage. So it's possible to fix in that case. I just wanted to address what doesn't really help is this advice like just take a break, just relax, treat yourself, buy something nice to yourself or eat something delicious. These things don't work to me because I feel even more anxious and even more nervous when I do that. I feel like I must be at work at this time. Like, what am I doing? I'm spending this money instead of investing it in something more useful for my business or something like that. And it's always really, really hard to just tell yourself everything's gonna be fine, just relax, just to instantly start enjoying everything. I don't know how other people can do it. I just can't just click something in my head and all of a sudden start enjoying my life. Tell me, guys, how it works. Maybe I just don't know the secret. So what I would say that I overcame it like very gradually. It wasn't like now I'm feeling completely fine. Not really. Well, now I'm feeling more stable. Like the purpose was to feel more stable, not necessarily happy, to feel calm and accepting whatever's going on. Like, okay, if shit is happening, okay, I just accept that it's happening. And that's not something you can do really easily, at least from my experience. So what has helped me is spending time with my friends in real life, I mean in person, especially considering that they are not designers. Well, I have one designer friend, but she's working full time. She's got a bit different workflow, so there's not that much that I can complain to her about freelance life, because I would have to explain a lot of things, and we didn't talk about my job too much with my friend, and that helped me because I felt like I'm also a human being, not only a designer. I do something else in my life. I have other interests, and there are other things in this world other than your job. Also, I've been trying to remove all the triggers that cause anxiety. Like I stopped looking at analytics on my social media, on Instagram, and in my shops. It didn't really cause anxiety, but I just realized that looking at analytics, in my case, because that's what caused the burnout in the first place, I just noticed that every time I feel worse after looking at it, which means that I have to limit myself from it. I just have to force myself not to do it. I don't know. I just used the willpower, and sometimes it didn't work. But sometimes when I was about to look at it, just because I have this habit, just before doing that, 1 minute before, I said, I was just trying to talk to myself in my head. Okay, before you open that, I realizing what you're doing. Like, you will feel like shit after that, and you won't get any satisfaction. Like, why are you doing it? And sometimes it helped, sometimes it convinced me, sometimes it didn't, but that's at least something. And and I started, regarding the jealousy part, I stopped looking at what my colleagues do, or at least I started doing it less than before. And I tried to deliberately not to look at their success or their analytics, like how many views something gains, how many likes. If I'm interested in seeing their work, I just see their work and that's it. And then I close it straight away. Also, just turning off the notifications from Instagram has helped a lot. It just doesn't distract me that much. Like, sometimes I still feel like the urge to look at it, but it doesn't happen as often as it used to with notifications. So yes, it's such an obvious thing, but it helped me. Also, complaining about your burnout to everybody else probably help. I remember I had a live stream and was complaining about it to my followers. I know that not everyone has this privilege that they can use their followers for that, but to me it has helped a lot. By the way, if you don't know, I do live streams on Instagram every Sunday, so you're welcome to join 9 p.m. UK time. We're just having a chat about design or anything, just to have fun. Yeah, and my followers, they were extremely supportive. I'm so grateful that I have these people in my life. Like, now I understand that Instagram is not evil. It has given me so much. If we measure the amount of benefits and the downsides of Instagram, benefits would outweigh 100%, like objectively. It has given me much more than the problem it caused. So yeah, you can just complain to anybody else, any people that you have around you. And it's hard to be sure about this advice because some people say it's really bad to complain because you're accepting yourself as a victim. But for me, it works. Because once I complained enough, I stopped feeling the need to complain all the time. And at some point, I'm getting tired of it. And I'm starting to think more rationally and think that I can actually control this. So it doesn't turn me into a victim mentality. I don't know, maybe for some people it would cause that. So I'm not sure that's what I would advise, but at least that helped me. Also, spending more time with people who are very calm and rational would help a lot because they would help you see a bigger picture of the world. Because ideally, you would want to adapt their mindset and just to be more chilled about whatever's happening. I know it's extremely hard to do that, but when you're surrounded with these kind of people, it may happen to you that you will pick up their perspective if you have such people around. Luckily, to me, I do have such people around me, and I'm so grateful for that. Also, regarding changing the environment, which is a really common advice, yes, obviously it works. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing to do, of course. But just sometimes treating yourself, especially if your burnout also has to do with your financial difficulty. Sometimes it can be hard to convince yourself that you need to spend even more money on recovering from your burnout. So that's why you don't need to spend much money on recovery. Depends on the level of burnout, of course, but sometimes it's just enough to go to your local park or anywhere where you can be in nature. I would just recommend you going somewhere different from your day-to-day environment, like any place that you would feel like you're not in your regular routine. For me, places in nature work best, but it can be anything different from that. So yeah, and regarding your mindset, that's the main thing you need to work on. You need just to shift your perspective. That's the only way ultimately deal with burnout. You need to accept what's going on and what you're going to do about it. Can you change something or can't change anything? You just need to see the bigger picture of the world, and that what happens in your situation is not the worst. Obviously it could be better. So yeah, basically what helps me is planning everything. That gives me the sense of control, that I can control my life. Actually there is something I can do, and all this complaining how the world is unfair, it's actually an exaggeration. I can actually control something. I just didn't take time for it and I don't feel motivated to do it. That's another thing. But fact is that I can control something. It's already a really powerful thought to have in mind. For me, what also always works is having these spare options in my head. Like if I can't succeed at something, I always think of a plan B, like what I'm gonna do if I won't succeed. Like, is it the end of the world or not? What I can do in that case. Plan B always reduces the stress level for me, at least. Yeah, okay. What else I wanted to say about the mindset also? Lowering your expectations also helps a lot. You just need basically to stop demanding anything great from yourself. And if all of that sounds like an impossible thing to do, I would highly advise you to go into therapy, because this may take just longer than explaining yourself this thing. You would need to work a little bit deeper with your conscious and subconscious mind. I don't know. I think professional therapists would help you with that. And that's probably the only thing that I would say it's worth spending money on, even if you don't have much to spend. That's the thing that would be a good investment. After that, you'll be able to work more productively, enjoy your work life. So yeah, it depends on the level of your burnout. Sometimes it may require a therapist, and I was about to go to therapist, but the platform that I used for this, I was just really impatient. I knew that I would have to wait a few days to get to my appointment, and I was feeling really, really bad at that particular day, those 2 days. And I thought, okay, like in 4 or 5 days, I would probably feel better. I wouldn't need a therapist. And this is pretty much what happened. In 4 or 5 days, I felt much calmer. But sometimes you may not feel better after a few days, and it's worse. So yeah, another thing that just came to my mind is taking these pills to calm you down before bed. I guess it's not pills, it's like supplements. They're based on herbs. I felt like it helped me. Maybe it was a placebo effect, who knows? But they're not expensive, I think. Just ask in your local pharmacy if they have anything like that. It can help. Or chamomile tea, I heard, helps really well with anxiety in general. That's just a nice thing to add to your recovery. So yeah, I felt like I've been recording this video for 1,000 years, but I'm glad that I talked about it, because I think it's an important issue to address, especially for us creative people. Sometimes we feel like we're so privileged to be designers or artists. It's already something that other people are just dreaming of, and we are so lucky to have this job, so we are not allowed to take enough rest days because we already are supposed to enjoy our work, and it's so creative and interesting. But we actually deserve rest as much as any other people with boring job, whether you're self-employed or if you work in regular job. That's probably all I wanted to say about it. Let me know what you think. Comment, find anything helpful from it. I would be glad. And see you guys next time. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you want to see more of my videos. See you guys next time. Bye!